So lesson 6-6 is going to be pretty easy. It's very similar to 6-5, except for now we're going to be multiplying two decimals. The steps are basically the same. So if I have 1 7/10 times 1 5/10, I'm just going to imagine it says 17 times 15 and do my regular multiplication. So 5 times 7 is 35, carry the 3. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 more is 8. And then I'm going to tic-tac-toe. 1 times 7 is 7, and 1 times 1 is 1. Add up my partial products. 5 plus nothing is 5. 8 plus 7 is 15. Carry the 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. Now, just like I did in 6-5 lesson, I go back to my original problem, which is 1.7 times 1.5, and I look at all the numbers in that whole problem that are behind the decimal, and I have 2. I have 7 and 5. Both those numbers are behind the decimal. So since I have two numbers in the problem, I have to have two numbers behind the decimal in my answer. So 1, 2, and then my decimal. So my answer is 2 and 55 hundredths. 5 2/10 times 4 6/10. I'm going to multiply a different way. I'm going to use the box method with partial products this time. And I'm still going to imagine that it says 52 times 46. So if I set up my box, I imagine 52, I can break that up into 50 and 2. And if I imagine 46 instead of 4.6, I can break that up into 40 and 6. And now I just multiply like I would normal with the box method. 4 times 5 is 20, with 2 zeros behind it, 1 from the 50 and 1 from the 40. 5 times 6 is 30, with 1 0 from the 50. And then 4 times 2 is 8, with the 0 is 80, and 6 times 2 is 12. Add up my partial products, 2,380 and 12. 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 2 is 2. 0 plus 0 plus 8 plus 1 is 9. 3 plus 0 is 3, and 2 plus nothing is 2. So 2,392. Now this is where things change. I go back to my original problem, which isn't 52 times 46, it's 5 2/10 times 4 6/10. And in that problem, I'm going to count up all the numbers that are behind the decimal. So I have 6 and I have 2. I have two numbers in the whole problem that are behind the decimal. So in my answer, I have to have two numbers behind the decimal, in which case I'll have 23 and 92 hundredths. Number 1 in your practice book, 3 2/10 times 0 and 3/10. So let's do our multiplication like normal. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. I'm going to tick. I have no tack, but I do have toe. Tic-tac-toe. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. Add up these partial products. We know that 0 plus 6 is 6. 9 plus 0 is 9. And 0 plus nothing is 0. Go back to the problem. 3 2/10 times 0 and 3/10. How many numbers are behind the decimal in that whole problem? I have 3/10 and 2/10. I have two numbers behind the decimal, so in my answer I have two numbers behind the decimal. There's my decimal. 96 hundredths is my answer. Number 2, 4 4/10 times 2/10. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 4 is 8. Tick. No tack, but toe. 0 times 4 is 0. 0 times 4 is 0. Add up my partial products. 88 plus nothing is just 88. 0 plus nothing, 0. So go back to the original problem. I have a 2 and a 4 behind the decimal. So I have two numbers behind the decimal. So in my answer, I have to have two numbers behind the decimal. 88 hundredths is my answer.